Hello and welcome to Keele University. I'm Tom from the communications team, and thank you for joining us for tonight's webinar, which is supporting you as you start your journey to university. Now, this webinar is designed for students and their parents or carers who will be starting as an undergraduate student in September, but we can also touch on postgraduate next steps and we'll be able to answer your questions if you have them. So if you've got any questions throughout tonight's webinar, please drop them in the live Q&A chat and we'll pick them up in there, and I'll ask them to either one of my two guests who can introduce themselves now. So we've got Sam and Jess. So Sam, do you want to start by introducing yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Sam. I look after the applicant marketing and communications team at Keele. So part of one of the things that we do is send out all the communications to students throughout their journey and their application, and then as they get closer to starting their time with us.
Fantastic. And Jess?
Hi, I'm Jess, and I've just finished my second year of my psychology degree. So here to answer any questions for students that are feeling anxious and hopefully not anxious by the end of this hour.
Amazing. So again, if you've got any questions for either Sam or Jess, pop them in the chat and I'll ask them as we go. But let's start. So Sam, let's start with where are we in the application journey at the moment?
Yeah, so for a lot of our undergraduate students, might be some of you watching at home, maybe you visited Keele last year for an open day, you might have been for an applicant visit day earlier this year, all sort of leading up to starting university in 2024. Lots of people will have applied for university in sort of the earlier part of this year, so what we call the equal consideration deadline that UCAS set, which was the end of January. And after that point in January, we move into what UCAS call extra. So you can still apply then, and some people watching might have actually applied after that date in January. But typically speaking, if you put all of your applications in by the end of January, we're now approaching the time where it's the deadline for universities to get back to you with their offers. So you might have already heard back from all the universities that you applied to. You might have all of your offers and all your decisions back. You might still be waiting on a few. So the deadline for universities to respond is coming up. That's next week, the 16th of May. After that, once you've got all of your offers, it's kind of decision-making time. So we'll probably have some people watching who have already made Keele their firm choice, and that's great. We know we're looking forward to you coming. You might make Keele your insurance choice. And those sort of those two things mean slightly different things. It'll be really familiar for lots of people, but just to sort of recap, if you've made a university your firm choice, that means that if you meet the conditions of your offer, so come results day, you get the grades that your offer is conditional on, then you're into your firm choice. Your insurance choice, if you don't meet the conditions of your firm offer and you meet the conditions of your insurance, then you'll be going to insurance choice instead. There's lots and lots of information about this on the UCAS website, so I do recommend, if you're not sure about any of that, you're still yet to make your decision, have a look on the UCAS website, and also on our website, so we've got guidance in terms of the application journey. The deadline for you to respond to all of your offers it's not too far away. So if you get all of your offers back by the 16th of May, then you've got until the 6th of June to respond to all of those offers. And like I said, we'll probably have quite a lot of people watching who have already made their decision. They've perhaps chosen Keele as their firm choice or perhaps insurance choice. But if you're still waiting on some decisions and you're still not sure, now's kind of like key decision-making time for you to decide where you're going to be going.
Fantastic. And so for undergraduate students, what are the next steps for them in their applications?
Yeah, so if you've not made your decision yet, it's decision time. You can do that before the 6th of June, because if you don't respond to the offers that you've got, then you decline them by default, is what's called. So that sort of turns everything down for you. So yeah, respond to those offers in UCAS by the 6th of June. Obviously, we're about to enter exam period for lots of people who are going to be joining us in 2024. So that's sort of coming up from maybe next week and then onwards. So there's all of that. And then after that, we enter sort of into towards the end of July is kind of the last sort of dates where you could be applying before we hit what's known as clearing. That starts on the 5th of July. And that's for anyone who's either not holding an offer from anywhere, or perhaps changes their mind about what they want to do, or either maybe doesn't meet the conditions if their offer's on results day and might want to change their mind on results day. But we'll have webinars and events about clearing close to the time, so we'll kind of go through all of that with people as well and reassure you about what happens there. There is also an embargo period. It happens every year, totally normal, but that's where universities can't discuss your application with you. That happens just before results day. So you've now got kind of decision, then you've got exam period, then there'll be a short kind of embargo period where universities can't talk to you about your application, and then it's results day in August, and then following on from that, all the things that happen once you kind of get started and added into our systems. As well as kind of the application into university, there's lots of other things that you'll perhaps be thinking about doing, and you'll need to start thinking about if you've not already done them. Sorting out your student finance is a really important one. We recommend you do that as early as possible. So even if you've not made your decision about where you want to study yet, you can make your student finance application. You can put your choice on there. You can always change your university choice on there at a later date if you need to. But we do recommend getting that in as early as possible. And I think that if you get it in before the 17th of May, that's sort of their cut-off for making sure you've got finances in place for when you start your course.
And that is next Friday.
That is next week, yes.
Yeah.
So if you've not done your student finance application yet, get that sorted. Obviously, there are people who might decide right at the last minute that they want to go to university and make an application fresh in August. And, you can make applications later in the day, but it can then be a bit stressful in terms of getting those finances in place for the start of term. So we always recommend to apply nice and early. Another key deadline that's coming up is accommodation. So for Keele, if you want to live on campus here, we offer guaranteed accommodation for new undergraduate students who are starting with us in September, if you apply before the 30th of June. So once you've accepted your offer, you can then make your application for accommodation. There's loads of information on our website about that. So it's keele.ac.uk/accommodation. All the info's on there about the types of rooms we have, the different halls, all that kind of thing. Where they all are on our campus. We've done a previous webinar about accommodation options as well, so you can have a look at that. Oh, and I should say we did one about finance. Forgot to say that. There's another one of those you can have a look at about the finance. So yeah, accommodation, applying before 30th of June. Lots and lots and lots of things to remember, we know, but hopefully we'll cover lots of it with you tonight. If you're an international student, there are a few extra steps that you might need to think about in terms of getting ready for university before you get to that sort of results period. Obviously, if you're currently holding a conditional offer, so we're waiting to see what your results are, we can't issue you with your CAS, which is your confirmation of acceptance studies, until that offer is unconditional, so you meet the conditions, so you get your grades basically. You need that to be able to apply for your visa, but there's lots of things you can do in terms of preparing for that visa application, and we've got a whole kind of section on our website all about visa support and advice and guidance. And we've also got some visa webinars coming up where we'll talk to colleagues from our immigration and compliance team about the visa process. So there's lots and lots of info, and it's keele.ac.uk/visa, which is nice and easy to remember. You can get loads of information about how to get your visa. And I think the only other thing I was going to mention was what happens then in July for people who maybe haven't applied yet. I've already sort of touched on that clearing opens on the 5th of July. And quite often I think people think that clearing is sort of a shorter thing that perhaps only happens around results day itself in the middle of August. But actually clearing does open on the 5th of July. So for anyone who isn't holding any offers or is making a late application, maybe hadn't applied in the earlier part of the cycle and now wants to go to university, from the 5th of July, you can start to do that. Obviously, there's quite a sort of spike in activity on results day itself, but we do see people applying during that period as well.
So I guess if you are ready to apply, do it as early as possible. Don't kind of leave it until results day.
Yeah, particularly if you've got your results already. So we get that, quite often people who'll apply to us during that period who perhaps have taken a year out and decide, actually, this is the year for me. I want to go to university this year. But we'll have lots of, in that time in July, but also on results day itself, particularly, I guess, on results day in August, there's lots and lots of people who are, we do this every year, and, we've got lots of teams who are there to support you and help you kind of, find your place.
Amazing. And also you mentioned, so we've got more webinars coming up, and we've
Yep.
also got all the ones that we've done already. So if you go to youtube.com/Keele University, you'll see all of the previous ones that we've done. We've done student life, we've done accommodation, visa. Jess is also on a previous one. So have a look at those. They are really useful, but also make use of the one that we're doing now. So, you know, we're here for the next sort of 30, 45 minutes or so. So if you've got any questions for either Sam or Jess, pop them in the chat and I can ask them as we go. So moving on then, speaking of support, how do we support students to prepare for university?
Yeah, so I mean, lots of different ways really. You know, right now we're supporting applicants, sometimes offer holders and people who've got, you know, questions, whether it's about finance or accommodation, visas, all sorts of things. So we've got these sorts of sessions. We've also got, you know, you can speak to our teams, email us, call us. So there's a whole sort of range of people who are supporting now with people's applications and getting them ready to sort of start university. If you've got any additional needs, we've got teams who are already contacting people to help get, you know, things set up for you for when you arrive. But once your place is confirmed at Keele, and that's usually, you know, around results day for our undergraduate students coming to join us in September, whole process kind of starts then in terms of being added into Keele systems, IT accounts being set up, your email address being generated, and then it triggers then a process in terms of emails get sent to you with instructions about what to do next, how to enrol, what, you know, photos you need to upload for ID, all that kind of stuff. So it all comes through to you. So just keep an eye on your emails. It all sorts of starts generating that content through. There'll also be lots of information sent to you that kind of introduces you to some of the support teams that we have at Keele. So, you know, there's various teams depending on you know what support you might need. But just as like an example, we've got a residence life team, and they're there to support students who live on campus. So resident advisors who live in halls of residence, and they're there to support you with any kind of like, you know, part of like living in, you know, halls of residence in a community at Keele. They put on activities as well and run kind of events for students. And then there are the student experience and support team, and they are based within schools and faculties. So every school has got its own student experience and support team, and they're kind of your first port of call if you've got any issues. It might be something to do with part of your academic studies. It could be something outside of academic life that you just need a little bit of extra support with, and they're all there to kind of help you and then signpost you to additional support if you need it. And that might be someone from our student services team, disability support team, student financial support team, the mental health and wellbeing team. There's lots and lots of teams who are here at Keele, all really geared up around supporting you to not only just as you start your university journey with us and helping you to settle in, but also throughout your whole kind of time with us. And they're there, you know, there's the people who are there available pretty much, you know, anytime, but there's also a 24/7 phone line that if people have got issues and they want to speak to someone, they can do as well. So we know it can be a little bit of an anxious time, you know, maybe you're moving away from home for the first time, people get homesick, or, you know, people feel a bit, you know, nervous when they arrive. And so yeah, there's lots and lots of people there kind of ready to support you and help you to settle in.
Brilliant. So that's kind of the university side. That's all the stuff behind the scenes, that kind of all those key dates and all the bits of information you need. But Jess is here, someone who's lived and breathed transitioning to university, to tell us how your experience was. So how did you find it? How was your transition into university?
Yeah, I mean, I personally moved country, so obviously moving to university is a big thing in itself. I like to call it I was nervously excited. But yeah, it was very exciting initially, like getting everything in, and but yeah, once the parents left, it was like, oh, okay, I'm here now.
It's just me.
Yeah, but I mean, with the whole initially, it's like, feeling like, I'm on my own now, but you're not. I mean, you mentioned the amount of teams that are available. Speaking about the Res Life in particular, I found, I think the first little event that I went to was watching the Bake Off at the chapel that we have on campus. That was like the first thing I went to. So yeah, with the activities that they host, it was really nice to have the Resident Life team in particular, because obviously living on campus, because like knowing that they're there 24/7 on call, and they also help with obviously moving into university with going into a flat full of people you've never met, very, very scary. Obviously, you know, awkward, hi, get in the kitchen. But they sort of make it a bit more easier. They kind of almost force you to get together in a nice way. And
Forced
like
fun. It's not.
yeah, no, but they kind of help you kind of set up like a little agreement plan, so to make like living there a bit more comfortable and set some like boundaries and things. But yeah, it was really, really, you know, anxiety provoking at the start. But I'd say the transition definitely was easier than I expected. With Keele, just in particular, with the amount of support that there is, particularly like welcome week, that's brilliant. So the first week that you do move in and everything's happening, so much that's going on, so many activities and fairs. Like for example, I know that there's I don't know the area when I first came here. I was just like, cool, campus, and like, I don't know what's beyond. But there's a lot of things like a tour around just the general area, getting to know the general area with obviously relevant people, and using the transport, so like the bus. Once you crack that, it's like, oh yes, it's easy peasy. At first it was like, how do I use a bus? I'm like, what's happening? But so much going on, like also just lots of signposts. Oh, we have this support. There's so many stalls and fairs that are just making you aware of all of the support that is there. And I myself have used the finance team because I had a few issues with my student finance, and it was sorted immediately. So it was really, really bringing down the anxiety of, oh my gosh, what's happening? My student finance is just not working, but all got sorted. It was really, really easy. Everyone's really friendly. So yeah, the student support services building, really easy to find. Just walk in there. They often have like the, like drop-in sessions every now and then. You can just walk in. There'll be certain days with specialist things like resident life or finance in particular. They have certain days for certain drop-ins, but it's just everything's just 24/7, which is what really reassured me. That also the security that's on campus, that made me feel a lot more at ease. But I think I definitely benefited from being on campus for my first year. That made the transition to just general university life in terms of the academic stuff. It's quite, this is quite a jump from A levels and GCSEs and things, but it was definitely a lot more calm.
And so which accommodation were you in then?
I was in Hollycross and the Oaks as well. I moved halfway through.
And what was that first day like, as you arrived and moved all your stuff in?
Really just everyone was moving in, so it was all very like, oh, this is exciting. But a lot of the resident life team were around to kind of help you with, by the way, you're going this way or that way, to kind of like, it's a bit of I feel like I'm in a maze, but yeah, there was so many people just around that you could just ask questions, because it was just a bit like, obviously it's one of the biggest campuses, but the actual, campus itself, I feel like it's quite a nice small community type of feel, but obviously we've got the woods and stuff that makes it even larger. But yeah, just everyone was just dotted about with all the Keele t-shirts. It's like, just ask them, it just, all the information that you were looking for was just everywhere, so it just made moving in and just the general transition so much easier.
And you kind of touched on it there around the whole, it's not just one day, you've got the whole welcome week period, haven't you, as well, and all that settling in. How did you kind of find that? What were you, having done it, what are your tips to someone who's approaching that week themselves, or anything like that?
I'd say just do as much as you can and want to and feel comfortable doing. Go to as many events or anything really, everything that's there. You'll get sent an email once you get your student email with everything that is available that week and what's going on. They'll probably send you a daily email to be like, oh, this is happening at 10 a.m. or so yeah, just try and go to as much as you can and feel comfortable doing. But equally, I would say maybe try and go a bit out of your comfort zone. At first, I went to the SU, I think, at the very end of the welcome week, because I was just a bit like, I don't want to. I'm like, but a friend of mine that I met just immediately, just by talking to people, getting out there, out of my comfort zone, you just kind of gain the knowledge that you originally, you know, it's like, this is such a big thing, there's so much going on, so much knowledge and information to process, just talking to people, just, you know, go and do something that you might not normally do, because I've met people in my first week that are now I consider my, you know, closest friends, so it was definitely worth going a little bit out of my comfort zone. But yeah, just get stuck into everything that's going on.
There are so many events as well, aren't there?
So many. I mean,
like you said, Bake Off in the chapel.
It was great.
It's quite.
There was free cake and everything. It was so good.
Yeah. Just give us a flavour of all those different things you can get involved with during Welcome Week, all the different events.
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. There's just so much that happens. It almost does feel a bit like, not overwhelming in a bad way, but there is just so much to choose from.
It's not just nightlife, is it, or anything
No,
like that?
definitely
so much more
not.
to it, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, nightlife's not my thing. I will go out and do it, and happy to have a happy night out. But yeah, just campus walks as well. I think that was like a nice thing to do, just to get to know the campus, and it is so beautiful. Like craft events, I think that were happening. I'm trying to think now. There was just so much going on. It's hard to remember.
I think on our welcome page as well. So when you start getting the emails that kind of like to prepare you for when you're going to start studying with us, it's a series of welcome emails. There's some welcome web pages, and they've got also like a flavour as things get confirmed of what's going to be, you know, there in Welcome Week, what, you know, when the sort of societies fair and like the AU sports
some of my
fair.
personal favourites that I don't know if they're running this year, but some of my personal favourites that ran last year were there was an escape room in the library.
Oh yeah.
Oh, probably. I would think that'll be coming back.
There was how to use the laundry sessions where they literally show you how to use the laundry.
Cooking sessions
there
as
you
well.
go.
I
There's
think.
a spectrum of events really that you can get involved with.
Yeah, I think there was cooking sessions as well, which I thought was great, because it's like, oh yeah, you'll learn to cook, like have fun.
But taking that period for you then, Jess, of you know, from now up until you hopped on the plane, I'm guessing, on a boat, and arrived, what were you doing? What were the things, any tips that you can give anyone in this period now that they could get ahead with certain things on?
Think about packing, but wisely. You don't need as much as you think. Actually, that's another thing. During Welcome Week, I think there's like second-hand, just like pots and pans and things.
How to pack sessions.
How to pack
sessions. It's a bit late.
Bit late, yeah.
Oh, some great YouTube videos there. We were talking about this
Yeah,
earlier, like,
just what I watched, like I think
to get ready.
Yeah, just people just kind of giving their advice of, you know, what I packed and looking back at what they packed, and it's like I really didn't need that. Like pots and pans and stuff. There'll be so many.
Did you bring pots and pans?
I mean, I bought them when I got here, but yeah, I did bring them. And I got kind of like one of everything kind of thing. I didn't go overboard with like, I'm not going to need that probably. Or just, yeah, because like once you meet your flatmates, if you are living on campus, they'll probably have, you know, things as well. They'll probably have the same pot as you, and, you know, you'll get to know them and want to cook together, which, you know, it's a lovely experience to have. I would encourage that as well. But yeah, think about packing wisely. And I think just generally searching the website and looking at the societies that are available. Another thing in Welcome Week is that you can go to all of the societies without a membership. And I think with like the sports societies in particular, they just host taster sessions for every sport you can think of pretty much. There's snow sports, which I was like, how is that a thing here? But it is.
Ski slope.
There's a dry ski slope
dry
in
slope.
Stoke.
Brilliant.
Chill factor up there in Manchester.
Amazing. But yeah, I'd say just kind of think about what you personally would find comforting. Bring things that obviously from home and stuff. That's one thing that really helped. Photos and things from just anything that can make your university feel a bit more like home, I'd say would help with the feeling comfortable. But yeah, I'd say packing was my biggest thing, I think, really, when it comes to
get a head start on that.
Yeah.
Start planning out. That's brilliant. We've had some questions in the live stream. And if you've got any more, please do drop them in the live chat now, because I'll be asking them, and we can stick around for as long as we need to, really, the next 30 minutes to answer all the questions that you've got. First one is, can I pay for my uni fees and accommodation fees in instalments?
Good question. So if you are an international student, you will be paying a deposit for your fees. And then your fees are paid as an undergraduate student that kind of set points throughout the year linked to kind of when you get your student finance payments. Accommodation fees, I think there's a fee when you apply and a deposit again, and then you pay for that before you start as well. All the information about that's on the website /accommodation around kind of when you make your payments and things like that.
Fantastic. The next one is, what are our sports facilities like at Keele? Do we have a gym facility?
Yeah, so I see like just the accommodation have gym facilities and sports facilities. We've got a sports centre on campus. So the campus is massive. It's like 600 acres, but everything, like Jess was saying, is quite sort of compact in the centre of campus. So right in the centre of campus, you've got all of the teaching buildings and the Students' Union and the library and the shops. And then kind of dotted around that in a sort of a little circle are all the accommodation buildings. So none of the accommodations more than, I would say, maybe 10 minutes into the centre of campus. And then sort of right next to one side of it is the sports centre. So there's what you might expect, in a sports centre, there's courts and things, and then outside we've got 4G pitches and the beach volleyball and a new hockey pitch and the running track, and then inside, there's the gym, there's the courts where classes and things happen. I've been to some yoga classes in there, so there's all sorts of sports things. There is, there is a little hairdressers inside the sports centre, and it's just near the new the sports.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well,
just as you go in, the little corridor opposite you as you enter the sports centre.
I'll book an appointment next week then.
And the new sport and exercise science lab is in the sports centre as well. And there's a really reasonable kind of rates for students and staff to become members there or go to classes. There's, sport at kind of various different levels as well. If you want to play perhaps in like the first level, football team, and do kind of all of the, the university level sporting competitions with books. There's that. If you want to just play something recreationally, there'll be something for you as well. If you just kind of want to go and have a bit of a kick about that, there's that option as well. And if there's like a sport that you do and there's not a club for that, then there's loads of support from the Students' Union to set up clubs and societies. So whether it's a sport that you're interested in or whether it's an activity that you want to set up, we've had all sorts of things over the years. I think when I first started working here, there was a Quidditch.
We were one of the first.
Team. And I loved that. Kind of in Welcome Week, they'd always do a demo in Union Square. And for anyone who's never seen people play Quidditch before in real life, that's something to see.
Amazing. A great question here. Please, could you shed more light on Results Day and what it implies? So, what is Results Day? What does it mean? What can you do? Where can you go?
I mean, typically when we say Results Day, we talk about the big Results Day for like A levels and BTECs in the middle of August, and that typically is when you're going to perhaps you're going to be starting university in, let's say, September 2024. You'll have taken your exams, from now kind of through to June-ish, and then you're waiting for the results of those exams, because the offer that you will have been given for your university place is typically based on you gaining certain grades in those exams. Now, all of our entry requirements are on our website in loads of different kind of qualification equivalencies. So if you're not doing A levels, you're doing maybe so like a BTEC or a T level or an access course or whatever it might be, or you're an international student and you're doing a different type of qualification, you can, on our undergraduate course pages, you can choose that qualification from a drop down and it'll show you what you need to get for any particular course. And then when your offer is made to you, it'll be sent to you as, this is what we would need for you to get. Then when you have the results of those in August, that's when all those results are kind of released to universities, and then all the confirmation happens in terms of, right, you've met those grades, your place is confirmed. Sometimes people might miss a grade, and our admissions team will look at that and see, with that slight missed grade, could they still have that place even though they've slightly missed perhaps what the condition was? And sometimes that is possible, and that's then kind of when people start to have places confirmed. Other people might sort of start to move around in terms of if they've perhaps missed out on their first choice university, we'll be thinking about their insurance choice. And then other people might be thinking they've perhaps not met the conditions of either firm or insurance, and they want to enter clearing and apply for somewhere new. So that's typically how it happens. You get your results quite early in the morning on that A11 BTEC results day in August, and always a real flurry of activity, people phoning us and emailing us to inquire about places and things. So we have like a massive team who are ready on that day, and lots of other universities will be very similar in that if for any reason you don't get the grades that you were expecting and you haven't met the conditions of your offer, do give us a call, and we can talk to you about what your options might be.
And you just answered another one already. That was if you don't meet the conditions of your offer, is there still an opportunity to study at Keele? And the advice is get in touch.
Get in touch with us and speak to us. So it depends on the course really. So there'll be some courses where if you don't meet the conditions of your offer, then your place might not be confirmed. There are some courses, for example, medicine, where there are so many applications and the standards are so high that if you missed your grades, you might not have your place confirmed. But there are some courses where the admissions team will look at your whole application and see, could this person actually be successful at Keele and might still be able to offer you the place. If you'll know on the morning of results day whether you're in or not at your given university. So if Keele's your first choice, your firm choice university, once you've got your grades in and the decision has been made, that will appear for you in UCAS, and you'll be able to see that it's there. And you'll get a text from us on the morning as well. So we send a little congratulations text out to people who've got their places confirmed on the morning of results day. Typically, that's what we do. And then emails and things like that. But if you're in any doubt on the day, you can always give us a call and we can chat it through with you. If you haven't applied to us, or maybe we're not your firm or insurance choice and you don't get the grades to confirm your place somewhere else, and then you're thinking, actually, I'm going to speak to Keele and see, if there might be a place available for me there, give us a call, and we can see what we can do.
Fantastic. This one might be a bit of an open-ended question, but please, when will international students expect feedback on their unconditional offers or offers in general?
So if you've been made an unconditional offer, that will mean that we already know what your qualifications are, and you'll be sitting with some qualifications in hand. And depending on whether, so I don't know whether this person's perhaps applied for an undergraduate programme or a postgraduate programme. If you've got an unconditional offer, then and you are an international student, once your offer goes unconditional, that's when that kicks in. I mentioned earlier the visa process around, we send you what's called a precast checklist, and that's some information that you need to sort of feed back on. And then once all that's complete, we send you a CAS, confirmation of acceptance of studies, and you use that to then apply for your visa. So it really depends on the time of year as to how long that can take. Our admissions team at the moment are processing lots and lots of that kind of thing, working with the visa team as well to go through all of those steps in terms of issuing those precast checklists and then those CASs as well, so that you can then go and make your visa application.
Another good question. Interested to see what you have to say on this one, Jess. Can you please tell me what I can do between now and September to prepare myself? And then they've put mentally specifically.
Oh, that's a question.
Or is it
What did you do?
I don't really know what I did really. It was just, it's genuinely, it all just happened so quickly. It was initially, I remember just results day. I actually found out that I got into Keele before my results because Newcastle, I don't know, it was just, I couldn't get my results. I was like, well, I got into Keele, so maybe I did get what I needed. But I'd say, just kind of thinking about, moving home, if you are moving home. It was thinking about what might that look like. How can I sort of make that easier? What can I maybe bring with me that will make things a bit more kind of, have that connection to home? And to be fair, I think I just was kind of so excited that I just kind of didn't really think too much. I wouldn't say, I feel like in a way you can't really prepare as such. It's kind of just everyone's unique experience is different. But I'd say, just think about kind of, the practicalities in terms of realistically, okay, what is, my life going to be like? Okay, so I've got to learn how to do laundry. Obviously, we have the support here to show you how to. Thinking about, I think, learning easy recipes just helped mentally to sort of think, okay, I can cook a meal. I'm going to be all right.
Do a food shop.
Yeah.
That's more difficult than you think.
Oh, it is, yeah. To be fair, I think almost preparing mentally is almost doing the bare essentials in terms of living. That just kind of helped me feel a lot more just
Ready.
at ease and ready mentally, just kind of thinking about, okay, this is what my life's going to look like. What can I do to make that easy and not stressful? And it's just doing the most basic things, really, like that you say, food shopping, laundry, cooking.
I think if you know you've got kind of some of those practical things. It's one less thing to sort of worry
think about. Yeah.
I would say as well, it's really easy to say, isn't it? Try not to worry too much about things. Try not to panic too much and try not to worry too much. And we know, it can be a really, really stressful time while you're waiting for those exam results in August. And especially because, we kind of go into that embargo period where you've got a question and your universities can't sort of talk to you about your application at that point. But try not to panic. Try to sort of stay calm, I would say. And in terms of being kind of mentally prepared to go to university, it is for a lot of people a first sort of step into like real independence. So practicing things that kind of put you outside your comfort zone, I think is a good thing to kind of,
definitely.
Build up that confidence that you can do things on your own and that you can do things independently. So, if you've never like been somewhere on the train on your own before, perhaps do that and kind of getting your confidence up.
Yeah,
that you
do
can
little steps of
lots of those sorts of things, and you can manage things on your own. But don't forget, like pretty much everybody else is going to be in the same boat.
Yeah.
So, you're going to be living. If you're living on campus, you're going to be living with lots of people who have all probably never lived away from home before, and there's that sort of support from one another that we see every year from the students. But if you have any issues, there's lots of people you can talk to once you're here. You can talk to the Res Life team, you can talk to your resident advisor who lives in your halls, or you can go and speak to your student experience and support manager within your school or faculty. And if you need signposting to some support, and you really are feeling that you need to chat to someone and not feeling well, or you're not feeling yourself, we've got a counselling and mental health support team, and they're there and they do, like Jess said,
I've used
drop-ins, but
good.
there's also like appointments that they'll offer out to people to make sure that you're getting any support that you need.
I think I would also say, like, try not to have any expectations of what uni life's going to be like, because you think it might be like this one thing, but it might not be. Try not to think about it too much in a way, because sometimes I think you can just overthink everything and then you kind of put yourself into a bit of a rut and almost create more anxiety for yourself. But I think just doing like the easy things, like there's support available, look at the website. I think just doing the little things to sort of reassure yourself that you're not on your own and it's going to be.
There's two sides to it, really, isn't there? You've got the side now up until results day where you're going to feel some anxiety about your results, and that's really normal. But I guess if there's any problems in that, then the clearing team is the one, and the admissions team is the one to get in touch with. And then from there, I guess you can just feel excited and kind of look forward to it. And if you do have any issues, there's counselling and mental health, there's student services, residence life, there's so many people in
mentors
place
as well,
Yeah.
really, really helpful. Obviously, they're labelled as academic, but they're more than happy. I've been talking to mine, she's like, I'm more than happy to like talk to you about how to recycle or even the simplest of things. So there's so much support everywhere.
So it's kind of the name of this stream, it's supporting you as you start university.
Yeah.
At every stage going forward now, there's someone you can get in touch with if you're struggling with anything. Brilliant. So moving on then, I mean, supporting you as you start university is the stream today, but someone has asked, how easy is it to find accommodation for second and third years off campus? So really planning ahead.
Now's the time to be planning.
That's great. Is it what's kind of the traditional thing that a student does at Keele? Obviously, first year they tend to live on campus, and then from there.
Some of our students, undergrads, will live on campus. We have quite a lot of students who might live in the local area and commute in to Keele as well. So it's sort of a mixture, but yeah, quite a lot. We have just under 3,000, like 2,700 bedrooms on campus, and quite a lot of those will be undergraduate, but we have postgraduate students who live on campus as well. So yeah, I mean, do you live on campus?
I live
still,
off
don't you?
campus
Oh,
now.
you're off campus now.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's housing fairs that happen every year to kind of help support you with, say, if you've met some people at uni, which you will, and most likely you'll be like, oh, let's get a flat together or whatever. And there's housing fairs that happen every year, which I know are very, very helpful in terms of signposting you to, oh, there's this company or blah, blah, blah. Or, but there's also, all-inclusive student accommodation off campus, which is Urban Student Life, which is really great. They have 4, I think nearly 5 sites of just studio flats and stuff, which is also fine for second and third years. And I'm there next year as well, so
yeah. And we've got kind of
easy.
our accommodation team will work with like local landlords, so we've got people who are kind of registered to then advertise their properties with us. But kind of where we're located within Staffordshire, there's quite a lot of accommodation in the local area that's available for students each year, and that might be something down in one of the local towns, or like Jess says, sort of like more purpose-built student accommodation. But there might be, houses that people rent together as well, and there's quite a lot of that down in, I mean, 15-20 minute bus journey, I would say. Like if you've got Silverdale or Newcastle, maybe sometimes a little bit further afield, like sort of like Stoke, that people will live in shared houses together. But yeah, there's lots of it essentially. So not something you need to really worry about right now.
Brilliant. Now we have 15 minutes left, and we've got quite a few questions in.
Right,
Have you got any more questions? Let's have a bit of a quick fire round now. This one should be fairly straightforward. Are there single-sex only buildings? So essentially, our main university buildings, no. There's male-female gender-neutral toilets. Accommodation, do they still do single-sex accommodation, do you know?
I believe so. I believe where bathrooms are shared.
Yeah, I mean, I know a friend of mine did put a request in for it to be all female.
Yeah.
So when you fill out your accommodation form, there's quite a few different things, and even down to like
on that.
how much of a party animal are you?
Yeah, they'll ask you about like your personality or what your straight. Obviously, they'll try and put you in with people who have answered the same sort of questions. Obviously, it gives you a talking point and makes the transition a lot easier. So yeah, there's a lot of thought that's gone into it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. What shops are on campus, Jess?
There's a Greggs. It's great.
Tom, you're the number one customer.
Yes. Okay, keep them open. Oh,
I have noticed there's lots of Greggs stuff in the bins
we
around
won't
here.
pan to the bin.
There's a Greggs. There's a little co-op which just has everything of the sort of basic needs and stuff. There's obviously a pharmacy as well, post office, and plenty of obviously food options available on campus as well. We've got the Squirrel, KPA, Chancellors also have a lot of food options there as well.
The kitchen table.
Kitchen table, that's the one. But also I'd say obviously getting the bus into town, it's really easy, 10-15 minutes. There's Aldi, Morrison's, they're the sort of main 2 big ones in town, but everything's fairly accessible. But Co-op's great, it's got everything you need, and Greggs is just Greggs. So it's
I'm going to jump in and add in because someone's asked a question. I've seen, is there a GP on campus?
Yes.
There's a health centre, GP and health centre on campus as well as the pharmacy. So
yes,
yeah, lots of that. And then not far, like probably 10 minutes on the bus, there's a slightly smaller like Tesco Express, and there's Morrison's in town, Lidl and Aldi.
Yep.
And then
Sainsbury's
not too far away, maybe like another 5 minutes. So yeah, there's
plenty.
And I think one of the Welcome Week activities, we definitely do it with international students, but I think it might be open to others, is a little trip down to supermarkets.
Yeah.
Find out where a supermarket is and go on a little supermarket sweep.
Stunning. One on societies now. So I think you mentioned this, Jess, that some in Welcome Week you can try them for free, but then there is a fee for some of them. Are you part of any? Do you pay any fees? How much is it?
Yeah, to be there, some of them do have a fee, some of them don't, but at most they're £3 for the year.
For the year?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I'd say. But when it comes to I know the sports societies, you have to get a AU membership, I believe. That just covers kind of, obviously, if you injure yourself or something, it's, things like that. But in terms of the basic society, say, bit of a nerd, I go to Harry Potter Society. That was, £2 for the whole year. Being a psychology student, we've got a psychology society, £3 for the year, and it does, bring you some benefits as well. You get discounts on, say, if they do an event, or.
What do you do with the Harry Potter Society out of interest?
At the start, every other week we go to the pub just at the Sneed Arms. That's not far from it's on campus really. Which watch the films every other week, or we'll do like a quiz night, snakes and ladders, but there'll be like trivia, which is Harry Potter related.
And what night?
Well,
That's great. So I guess they all vary, don't they? It depends. You need less insurance with the Harry Potter Society than you do with skiing.
Yes.
So it will vary based on
yeah, but I'd say at most in terms of the societies rather than sports in particular, at most I'd say there's like £3-5 for the year, and a lot of them are free as well. But there's everything. There's music related, Hispanic societies and like languages, academic societies as well. So there's everything that you can get.
I mean, during Welcome Week, when you've got like the fairs that you can go to find out more about all the societies, they'll have all that info there as well in terms of what their joining fees are and what their membership fees or whatever, and what trips might cost. Because if like you join the you join the Snow Sports Society and they're going to do a trip, that's obviously going to be quite an expensive kind of activity. But there are other clubs and societies, like you say, where they're not as expensive, but they'll have all of that info for you as well in Welcome Week.
When is Welcome Week?
What a beautiful little segue. So starts on the 23rd of September, Monday the 23rd of September.
And is it 2 weeks or one?
Oh my gosh. That's such a good question, because it was 2 weeks last year.
Changed slightly, hasn't it?
Yeah. I think it might run a little bit longer, where you've got some kind of induction-based kind of activities.
You don't have any classes, do you?
Yeah,
Week
it's like week zero, which was a bit strange to transition to.
So your academic stuff will, if this is the same as what's just happened, week 0 is just arrive, experience campus, meet people, have a great time. Week 1 is then when your classes start.
But there are some induction activities in week 0 as well to kind of get you started into things.
I think it's /Welcome Week.
Yeah, /Welcome on the website.
/Welcome, and you can find out more about that. Move-in day. How was this for you, Jess? On move-in day, does everyone arrive at 9 a.m? The whole entire 3,000 students moving onto campus, or is it staggered over a few hours or even days?
Yeah, so you'll book a slot to move in. I think I booked mine at like 11, I think I remember. But yeah, you'll book a slot, and essentially you are given an hour, but you're not really. You can just pretty much take your time. You don't feel like you have to rush the hour, but it's just to stagger the arrival of the amount of students. So yeah, you'll book a slot. You'll get given like I think they call it a passport, which I thought was quite fun. Yeah, you just arrive at the time that you click, and then.
And how long do you get to move? Do you feel rushed moving in, or
no, not at all really. You go to go and collect your keys. You'll get your ID, I believe, as well at the same time. But no, I didn't feel rushed at all. It was really easy. And again, like I mentioned earlier, there's people dotted about throughout campus pointing you to this is where this accommodation is, and people at the accommodation itself pointing you into the right directions of the room. But yeah, I didn't feel rushed at all. It was quite an easy process, really. A lot easier than I thought. I'm like, how much of stuff am I going to have to get in and everything? But no, it was easy peasy.
Brilliant. Next one is about timetables. When do you normally get your timetable? Does it vary? Is there a date? Does it depend on what course you're doing? All of the above?
It could be all of the above, yeah. I'm not sure for this year. It's obviously before you start, but I'm not sure how.
Three.
I'm not sure how far in advance of when you actually start your studies, because it depends as well on the course. Some courses have a slightly earlier start date than others, so I couldn't say like, oh, it's the end of August, because if your course starts right at the start of September, then it would be before then, kind of thing. So once results day happens, and then everything. Everyone gets
Part
added.
of that enrolment period, isn't it? Yeah.
It's all lots of systems going on in the background then to sort of start putting all of the timetables and things together, and then that'll get emailed out to you that it's there. And do you use the Keele app?
Yes.
You've got timetable in that.
Yep, it's really easy to use.
So you can download the app that we've got. That's got all sorts of things in it, from like what's on, like all of like the listings of all events and things that are happening, but then
all the
your
support stuff's there as well, so get
quick contact for stuff in there. So then your timetable will be put in there for you.
If you already have an unconditional place at Keele, when will you find out what accommodation you've been allocated?
I saw this one and I've looked up the answer.
Nice.
It's on the website. It's on /accommodation. So if you've got an unconditional offer, you've made your application for accommodation, then it's mid-July onwards where we start to sort of let students know their accommodation offers from then. For lots of other people who are waiting until results day to have their place confirmed, then once those results come in, then after that you'll be sort of informed about your allocation for accommodation. But it should be mid-July.
Brilliant. 5 minutes left. If you've got any more questions, do drop them in the chat.
It's lots of questions.
We've got a couple more to get through. The next one is, did we mention this? We mentioned how you can move in. Did we say when? When are students expected to move in?
Well, typically it's the weekend before. So if it's the Monday the
Saturday
23rd, it will be the
Sunday,
Saturday the 21st. That's for home students. So if you're an international student, it'll be a couple of days before that that you'd be arriving. Typically speaking, international students are invited to arrive a little bit earlier and just a little bit more kind of like settling in and like orientation around the campus and the local area. And then rest of our students arriving on that Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah,
I think.
I remember it was on a Sunday.
Book your slot.
Yeah.
Next one is, my course starts on the 1st of September. Will that change what time I move in?
Yes, so if you're studying a course that requires you to have a longer contract length for accommodation, because if you look on the accommodation web pages, you'll see that we offer different lengths of contract. So some courses do require that. Potentially it's one of the health-based courses, something like nursing maybe. You'll have applied for a longer contract, and that'll be sort of like part of your accommodation offer. Then we'll tell you when you can move in based on when your course starts.
Fantastic. One around bursaries in particular, but like bursaries and scholarships. How much money can they get if they apply? How does it all work? Just talk us through bursaries and scholarships as a whole.
I mean, in a nutshell, have a look at the website. There are lots of different, bursary scholarships available for undergraduate, postgraduate, home, international students. So it's all kind of broken down on the website as what's available, depending on what your nationality is and whether you're a undergrad or postgrad student. What I would say, obviously we're pretty much focusing on undergraduate in our conversations tonight. So for undergraduate students, you can have a look on those web pages. There are some bursaries. We have got something called the Access and Success Fund. So that's for undergraduate students in particular, I think, who from an underrepresented background. So there's a list of criteria on the website that you might be eligible for that Access and Success Fund, and you can apply for that to help to support you to just sort of get the most out of university life. It might be some equipment, like you might need a new laptop. It might be to help you pay for, joining a particular society and engaging with that element of university life. There's lots of different things you can put that to. There's loads and loads of info on the website. And if I can pull it up, what the URL is, but I think it's basically /. If you went to /support, it would take you through to being able to go then to the student financial support. It's /students/student financial support, and there's all sorts of information on there in terms of any support funds and schemes, and then it links as well to bursaries and scholarships.
Awesome. Next one, Yeah, sure. You are living and breathing this question right now. Can you
Oh.
get jobs on campus? And if so, how do you apply?
Yes, well, I'm a content ambassador, which is great. So essentially get involved in stuff like this or some marketing stuff on the website, completely flexible around your schedule. You can be like, yep, I'm free. But also I believe you can get a job at the co-op and also at the kitchen table as well, and all the food stops on campus as well. What else is
Loads
there?
of there's lots of part-time jobs that you can
Yeah,
get, isn't there?
definitely, and it's very much like in the thought of making it, flexible around your studies. It's very well thought out, and a lot of my friends, I do know that they have jobs at the kitchen table, at the co-op. My boyfriend had a job at the co-op a couple of years ago.
Or I'm guessing the local area as well. You could get a job
Yeah.
in there.
And lots of our students will work part-time, locally, all sorts of things. But we've got a really great careers team who will support you with all sorts of careers advice, but also their job opportunities. They get advertised with them, so you can have a look on their web pages, and they've got kind of a hub with like jobs that are available, whether that's like a term time or part-time job, or graduate jobs as well. So yeah, really great careers team based in the library, and if you want any careers advice, go and speak to them.
Fantastic.
Or be a student ambassador.
They are the best roles.
We do like so.
So you have to do things like this. You to get
Yeah.
paid.
Well,
to...
you mean obviously being this, Jess is like a special kind of like content ambassador, but we have people who work as ambassadors with us on all sorts of things. So it could be doing a campus tour, on an open day, applicant visit days, things like that. So lots of students. I'm going to say like hundreds of students probably.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't. But like a lot of students will become a student ambassador.
They're from
And
every course, almost, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's a great way to kind of like earn some money, get some experience on your CV, and you meet loads of people,
Yeah.
and then particularly if you're an ambassador that ends up working things like open days, you get to meet like the next sort of generation of
Yeah, I
students
mean,
who are going to come
I'm
in.
technically an academic student ambassador as well, so I've been to applicant visit days just to talk to other students and their families, and particularly in the School of Psychology for me in particular, just telling them about the course. And so it's really great fun, to be quite honest, and it's just to be quite a bonus that you get paid. It's just a fun experience, and like you say, putting it on your CV is great.
So as an international student, do you or can you get help with applying for your visa?
Yes. Keele.ac.uk/visa. And then there's all sorts of information on there, and there's contact details for our visa team as well. So if you have a specific question, you can drop an email across to them, and yeah, they might be able to help you out.
I think
And we've got a webinar coming up as well, another one. We just had one.
Yes.
You could watch that, but there is another one coming up we'll be doing, so look out for that.
They're all scheduled on YouTube, so you go to /Keele University /live. You'll see, once this one ends, you'll see all the next ones that we've got coming up as well. I think this one's for you, Jess.
Oh.
You might know, you might not. How far away are sorry. You sat on. Actually, they asked you about pharmacy placements then. Not for Jess. Placements in general then, Sam. Do you know anything about them? How far away they are?
I mean,
This one's particularly about pharmacy placements, but I guess there's many different courses that have placements.
it's a very specific question, and I don't know off the top of my head how far away your placement would be for pharmacy. I know we've got lots of partnerships in terms of where you where you could be
Who
placed.
would you ask?
But I would potentially ask someone from the academic team, probably, in terms
Academic
of that.
mentors.
Your academic mentor. If you want to know in advance, you can drop an email through to inquiries@keele.ac.uk, and someone in the inquiries team will find that out and get you the answer. I'm not sure off the top of my head about that. I know for medicine, nursing, midwifery, they tend to be sort of like in a relatively close geographic field, but they do go out to kind of like Shropshire, Shrewsbury, those sorts of areas as well. But I'm not sure for pharmacy.
Brilliant. I think we've pretty much answered everything there. Again, if you need to, I think there's a couple of questions that come through that we answered earlier in the stream. Once this ends, or I think even now, you can scrub back and rewatch to kind of if there's anything you missed or need to catch up on. And again, we've done quite a few of these webinars now, and they're all hosted on our YouTube /Keele University. Have a watch of any that might be of interest to you. There's one about student life, accommodation, finance ones,
Visa.
and there's also ones to come as well as we approach this A-level results day and clearing period. So do have a watch of those in your own time. Thank you both.
Thank you.
It's been insightful. Thank you all for watching, and hope to see you on campus very soon.
Thanks, everyone.